I made a video a while ago asking whether UK wrestling was in a boom period or the bubble was about to burst. Well, if the bubble is not bursting, I think it is, if it's not already, on the edge of deflating. Yesterday, I put up a video talking about how the 5-Star Wrestling Tour was cancelled. Pretty much simultaneously as I published it, 5-Star uploaded a post or status on their Facebook page saying that the tour will happen next February. In my opinion, that is a big F for that tour. Many of the wrestlers booked for the tour that was supposed to happen, I think starting about a week's time, June the 10th, they they aired their concerns. We've heard talk before with the promotion not really being identified when it comes to not being paid deposits and concerns about bookings. Obviously, this leaves a lot of wrestlers free for many dates throughout the summer, and I obviously, as always, encourage any promoter, if you're interested in any of those guys, hit them up on Twitter, and then you can, if that's not the way they want to handle bookings, if there's an email address, then you can get all the details from whoever it is you're interested in, if they're available on the date that you would like them. But certainly, I have very great concerns about the UK wrestling scene. It's a big if. I wouldn't really blame any of the guys if they didn't work the supposed tour next February. I would understand it if they are given assurances about the tour and about money. As Joe Coffey said, he'd lost more money in the first 6 months of 2017 than he has done. I think it was 8 years of wrestling. So I wouldn't blame any of the guys if they agree to do the tour next February, if they're given the proper assurances. And I wouldn't blame the guys if they pull out of that tour if those assurances or promises are not kept to. If they're professional wrestlers, that's what you are. That's the way you earn money. So I wouldn't blame them for taking any booking that obviously would lead them to earn money. I wouldn't blame them if they get assurances, then they make themselves available for those dates beginning next February. And I honestly said I wouldn't blame them if those promises, if those assurances don't come true. I would certainly not blame them, and I don't think anyone should blame them if they were to pull out and not take part in any of the shows. Is 5-Star Wrestling done? Well, let's see. Let's wait and see. I asked that question yesterday. They're very much adamant they're not. I don't have much time for 5-Star Wrestling at all. I've explained it before. The replies that my friends were given in the run-up to the show here in Dundee in January, the sort of language used in the replies, even when it was general, very friendly inquiries about the show, and about what the plans were regarding 5-Star Wrestling, and then any continual and long involvement of what is supposedly their home city. I did not like it, that's why I didn't go. And even, as I said before, Grado, who was booked on the SWE show at the Adler Complex in January, which happened on the same date, he was surprised that I wasn't at the 5-Star show. But I said it was a long story. I didn't want to get him involved with it because, again, I don't want to muck up any of his bookings. I don't want to get involved with any of the guys. So I wouldn't blame any of the guys, if they don't eventually do the tour. Also, one of the things I want to talk about, I don't want to make this video too long. I tried recording it before and it went far too long. What Culture Pro Wrestling, and I'm going to go at anybody in this video apart from 5-Star. What Culture Pro Wrestling, they've had a campaign these last few weeks about the algorithm used on YouTube regarding advertising. Generally, it's very complicated, and I don't quite understand myself, but generally the algorithm of YouTube kind of assigns advertising to YouTube videos that are able to be monetized. Not every, what you really, I should keep it as trying simple. What WCPW, what Culture Pro Wrestling has been complaining about, is that apparently the new algorithm designates pro wrestling as not really advertiser friendly, so that what Culture have been having or gaining a lot less income from the YouTube advertising than previously they have had before. Obviously, this is a bad thing for wrestling in general. Any type of revenue stream for an independent pro wrestling organisation, and I know there are some organisations out there who don't really like the tag of independent wrestling, but that is exactly what you are. You are an independent wrestling organisation. And I'm not saying that you must be seen as a very small, very perhaps unprofessional or part-time company. There are many great independent wrestling organisations out there, even whether it be up and down the UK, worldwide, that do a great job, and they gain. No, they don't really. Well, they earn the respect. Is a very popular saying. It's not really been used around here lately. Respect is earned, not given. As Charles Phoenix, local wrestler here in Dundee, would say, and it does say on a regular basis. I'm sure he still says it to the guys, the trainees at SWE. But any income stream for an independent wrestling company is, of course, very important. Many independent companies, many promotions, they don't have masses of different revenue streams like the WWE. They don't have an on-demand. They don't have, they're not selling thousands upon thousands of t-shirts and mugs and everything and anything with their logo on it. Then they're not, they don't have television rights money, they don't have advertising for the television money, they don't have action figures, they don't have all those those revenue streams that you see with companies like WWE. So obviously, if this is affecting wrestling promotions on YouTube, it's a great concern. Again, not every wrestling promotion can earn money from YouTube. We see it before. YouTube is very and ahhing sometimes about revenue. I've had a few videos lately that have been put down as not advertiser friendly when I don't know exactly what the problem is with them. But certainly, if any advertising revenue stream for an independent wrestling company is very, very important, and any of those streams that they can capitalize on is extremely important to the company, whether it be paying the guys, their equipment, any costs involved. As I said, not every independent company makes money off of YouTube, especially because sometimes, like I said, YouTube is and and many companies include entrances in their events, and sometimes YouTube can cut or block advertising from those videos because it recognises that a wrestler's using a popular song, maybe a song by Electric Six, or a song that doesn't, that obviously isn't their own, even though many wrestling companies, of course, pay for things like entertainment licenses or whatever the legal paperwork it is they can use, they do to be able to use music, kind of like radio stations. Although wrestling companies may pay for that legally, YouTube, when it comes to them, they sometimes they will block videos either on mobile devices completely or block advertising from that video, which means obviously that company will not get revenue streams for any revenue for that video, which it may be their whole event, maybe a recent event, and it may be a very good event as well. So that is really certainly concerning for wrestling. My whole thing is about this as well. Another thing is that Joe Coffey also replied to somebody on Twitter yesterday when talking about the 5-star situation, that he was asked whether the World of Sport revamp the new 10-part series that was supposed to be filmed last month, whether that was going ahead, and he replied no. Jeff Jarrett was supposed to be in the UK. He cited travel issues, what I'm not entirely sure, and said that he was trying to reschedule meetings regarding it. I think if we don't hear anything concrete within the next few months, certainly the next couple of months, by the end of the summer, I think that the World of Sport revamp may very well be dead in the water, which is another bad thing for UK wrestling. Its mainstream exposure, and to cut off any type of exposure when it comes to professional wrestling in the UK is obviously a bad thing. Now, all of this thing, in my opinion, it's, to be honest, I feel like a lot of promoters, or so-called promoters, are trying to walk before they can run. I feel that a lot of people, or at least some people, are looking at wrestling right now, the boom period of wrestling. They're looking at, oh, I can throw some money at this and I will instantly make a lot of money. That is the feeling that I'm getting. I'm not going to go at What Culture, because as much as I commend What Culture for what they're doing, and again, I don't know the guys, I don't know what they do, I don't know, the exact structure, and I've never been to one of their shows, but I think some people have it ass over backwards, head over heels, when it comes to the way they do things. I think so many promoters, or so-called promoters, are not doing things correctly. They're trying to run before they can walk, because they're trying to instantly make money and make a brand and make a promotion by bringing instantly and only big names to the company. Setting up a company just like 5 Star, and the 5 Star's the worst of it. They just make a company, they set up a wrestling promotion, and all they do is bring in big name guys. And I'm talking about, there's the Real Studios, the RVDs, etc. the world. They just bring those guys in and they instantly think they've got a cash cow right there. When that is not the way that wrestling works. It's still not the way the wrestling works in the UK. It's never been. We've seen it, and I've seen it so many times before, from whether it be likes of 1PW to various other promotions. It doesn't work that way. So many people over the years, and not just in this latest boom of UK wrestling, have tried to bring in, just backers, or have a lot of money themselves, and they've tried to throw money and instantly bring big names, massive names, former WWE, Impact stars, WCW stars, whatever. They don't try and do what is right, and they don't try and build from the ground up. I think the WCPW way of doing things is wrong. I think from the advert that I've seen, the recent advert about that campaign, they seem to want to base their whole promotion on YouTube revenue. Now, I understand, again, like I said, any revenue stream that a company can capitalise on is good. It's a great thing. There's there's lots of different revenue streams that were not available in the past for various companies. From the whether it be WWE or UK promotions in the 70s, the 80s, those World of Sport days. There's many revenue streams now available to companies that were not available then. But I think that promoters, any real promoters, should try and build their company from the ground up. Ignore the big names. There are plenty of talents in the UK that they can bring in, a couple of big names. Really, promoters should try and build their company up from the ground up, and slowly try to build, and not try to immediately leap on the highest level of shows, use the big names immediately, like some promoters can, or have tried to. Some promoters out there, they are trying to just immediately leap to high value, high end promoting, when they have not put in the hard work of building the promotion up and that is what's going to bring them down. I have serious concerns about where the UK wrestling scene is going to be in a couple of years. I have serious concerns about, it's just like any bubble that's going to burst. The .com bubble that happened a few years ago, when many tech companies in the likes of San Francisco were set up, and many of them now are not around because not only is there only so much demand for a particular product, service, form of entertainment, whatever you want to whatever it is you're providing, there is only so much finances to go around as well. And I feel that, like I said, I think the bubble is going to be bursting shortly. I think some of these are given a bad name to UK wrestling, which is going to be very hard to shake off. And I think in a couple of years that I really hope that it's not back in the doldrums, but I seriously think that some promoters, some so-called promoters, they seriously need to take a good, hard look at themselves and the way they do business, and actually try to decide not only if this is for them, but have a good, long, hard look at the way they carry out the business.